Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our webinar titled Thriving in Young Adulthood, the Power of Self-Care. Turn my camera on. We are so happy to have you join us today. As young adults navigate this exciting yet challenging phase of life, self care becomes essential for maintaining well being and achieving personal growth. Today, we have the privilege of hearing from Dr. Jeremy Blunt, a seasoned expert from the Stitches Group. Dr. Blunt will guide us through insightful strategies and practices that empower young adults to prioritize self care in their daily lives. So, we want you guys to settle in and get ready for an engaging and enlightening session that promises to inspire you on your journey towards thriving in adulthood. Thank you for being here. Uh, and let's dive into this discussion. Dr. Blunt?
Great morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me once again. I apologize. For some reason, my camera is just deciding it wants to do what it wants to do this morning, but it's okay because this is what I look like. Uh, this is me. Um, I do a lot of different things in and throughout the community, but I really enjoy empowering people. So today we're going to talk about a subject that truly is close to my heart, that has to do with self-care. Self-care. So, as she kind of mentioned, learning objectives for the day, uh, we're going to go through some things of really understanding. As we dive into it, I really want you to grasp and really understand the significance of taking care of you. Self care is your ability to take care of self, especially during the complexities of early adulthood, young adulthood, really kind of learning what that means. So, first, we have to define self care and explore the different aspects. Self care isn't just a word, it's not just like a buzzword, but it's essential to our well being. Like, we gotta do it. We'll look at physical self care and why it's vital and the practices that really can enhance our physical health. Uh, we'll slightly um, move into showing other connections of it that we deal with, social connections, the importance of healthy relationships, and really how they can significantly impact our emotional and our mental state. Um, and then finally, we'll recognize, we'll talk about some of the obstacles that we have to overcome. And understanding those barriers is the first step to overcoming them. Um, I want to encourage you to really take some notes, take this in, um, together with all the different things that we're going to cover. These topics I really believe will equip you to better prioritize and synchronize your life and how you deal with things. So, kind of to get us started, um, staying healthy is a in mind and body is essential, especially just being honest in the current state of the world, and the things that we're dealing with. Taking good care of ourselves can help us move from simply getting through things that we're dealing with and actually growing and thriving. It's not just enough just to experience things, but you're supposed to grow from them. And I used to like to do this little quiz, quivia, trivia type thing. There's a word that starts with a B, ends with an R, and it's actually two words. And there's only two letters that separate the two words, but they have complete opposite meanings. And they are what happens whenever you go through an experience. After the experience is over, you're either going to become this or you're going to become that. Both of them starts with a B, both of them end with an R. Anybody would like to use the chat feature? Throw me out some, just some guesses of what they are. Anybody? Both of them are six-letter words. I'm gonna give you that as a hint. Brother, okay. One letter will separate the two words. I'm going to give you this one more time. So you're coming out of an experience. You either become this or you become that as a result of that experience. I'm going to give you about 30 more seconds. Let me talk about the other stuff on the slide. More than 7 out of 10, that's 72% of people, like to use self-care as a reward after a long and tough week. That means it's actually something that's a lot more popular than what people may even think it is. 64% of people, self-care provides a much needed boost to their self-confidence. That's more than 2/3 feel more better after they do something to take care of themselves. And it helps them to be 67% more productive, and they are 71% happier after they take time for themselves. So, folks, let me tell you what I'm basically saying is the statistics are there to prove that taking care of self, doing for you, actually makes a difference. It's vital, especially for young adults who are juggling various pressures. You know, personalizing self-care practices can help you as an individual. It can help you better view yourself, better deal with things around you, all of these different things. So as we move forward and we talk more about it, I want you to understand the statistics are behind us that this is essential. All right, let me get back to it because I know you're dying to find out what are those two words that are only separated by two letters. I'm gonna give you both of the letters before I give you the word. I'm gonna give you opportunity. Give me one more guess. The two letters are E and I. Those are the only two letters that separate the words. All the other letters in the word are the same. Starts with a B. The only two letters that separate them are E and I, and the last letter is an R. Should I give you a little bit more time to think about it? Or should I go ahead and tell you? Who wants me to go ahead and tell? You want me to tell you? Go ahead and tell you. Just give me a thumbs up. Wave at me. Do something. Let me know if you just want me to go ahead and tell you. All right, you won't. I won't hold you suspense no longer. I'll go ahead and tell you. When you come out of experience, that experience can either make you better or to make you bitter. I want to pause and let that settle in a little bit. You either become better or you become bitter. Now, it's not the experience, it's what you do with what you got from the experience. Because when you don't take the time to reset, when you don't take the time to review, to analyze, to find out how you can be better moving forward, then you allow stuff to like incubate. You allow stuff to you to just marinate. And everybody know if you let it marinate too long, it's like a pressure cooker. It ends up popping off, right? So if you don't take the time, then you end up being bitter. And how do I know when if I'm better or if I'm bitter, Dr. B? I'm so glad you asked that question. Here's how you know. You know by the next time you experience something that relates to that one. That's how you find out. When you experience something else, you meet the next person, you go to the next experience. For example, an easy example is, hey, if I had a whole lot of, I was in a stressful situation at my last job, and it was very demanding, and everybody, I had a hard supervisor, and it was always so I felt really, really stressed. I won't know until I get to my next job what effect and whether or not I became bitter or better from the last one until I face the new experience, till I get a new supervisor. How do I treat that supervisor? Do I treat them based off the last one? Or do I treat them the way that they are right now? I can do that for the job. I can do that for the teacher. I can do that for relationships. I'm teaching my present relationship based off of how my last relationship was. Are you bitter or are you better? And a lot of it has to do with, taking the time for self-care is also taking the time to say, I'm checking on me and where I am and what I'm doing. So, what is self-care? I'm so glad y'all asked that question. So glad. Here's your answer for you. Self-care is any activity we actively choose to do to take care of our physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Personalized self-care practice is what suits you. As we dive into this, and it's essential to personalize it for you. Think about what nourishes you, what helps you to recharge. Even now you're thinking about it. Remember, self care is not a one size fit all. It can look different for everyone, whether it's exercise, meditation, or simply taking time to relax. The key to be intentional about it. Before we got started today, I just paused and said, you know what? I'm just going to take a moment to take it all in. And I'm going to reset myself. I'm going to regather my brain and my mind about what I'm doing. That is a way of taking care of myself. Just pausing before I get out the car in the morning to come into work. I take a moment before I get out the car. And I say, I'm not carrying anything with me. I, that is a form of taking care of self. You are responsible for you, and you got to prioritize you. So, why do we need to practice self care? I kind of talked about that a moment ago. Young adults face academic, work, and social pressures. Let's just be honest. We're balancing a whole lot of things. It helps to reduce stress, anxiety, and honestly, burnout. You know, this leads us to our first key point uh, about it. It can cause burnout. By actively engaging self care, we can create a buffer against overwhelming feelings. Secondly, it's important to note that the brain is still developing during the early young adult phase. You know, this means that taking care of ourselves is not just beneficial, it's essential for mental growth and resiliency. And you gotta go ahead and start putting in your mind thinking about long term. Practicing self-care helps to maintain a healthy work-life balance. When we prioritize our well-being, we are better equipped to manage our responsibilities without feeling overwhelmed, feeling like it's going to take us out. So let's keep these points in mind as we explore some things as we move forward. So there are areas of self-care. Let's take a look and explore those areas. First, we have the physical self. This means keeping our bodies healthy. We can achieve this through regular exercise, nutrition eating, and ensuring we get enough sleep. All right, so let's go ahead and let's jump into the chat section once again. I want to hear from you in the chat section. Talk to me. I like people to talk back to me back and forth. There we go. All right, so tell me, how many hours do you get on a norm for sleep every night? Let's say the average night's rest. How many hours do you get? All right, 6 to 7, 6 to 8. That is correct. 6 to 8 hours is the amount of time you're supposed to be getting to make sure your body gets an opportunity to reset. That's good right there. Now, I'm gonna put nobody on the spot. I'm not gonna do it, and I'm not gonna talk about nutrition and exercise because we all know what we should do, and then we also know what we do. Let's just be real and let's be honest. Okay, it wasn't until the last maybe 4 or 5 years that I really got serious about my nutrition and my exercise routine. And unfortunately, like most people, they don't take it seriously until a health issue comes. Um, but it is essential that you take the time, watch what you're eating. Like don't look at me sideways. Those that have been in sessions with me before have heard me mention this. I'm part of that 5 a.m. crew. I'm in the gym at 5 a.m. every morning, at least 5 days a week. And before y'all start hollering about, oh God, there's no way I'm just turning over and everything else. Hey, to each his own. It's about finding the time to take care of you and doing what you need to do to take care of you. And studies show that if you at least do 30 minutes of some form of cardio, take a walk, go and get some fresh air, do different things to make sure, hey, you are doing those things on a regular basis. And of course, eating nutritiously. This is essential. So then there's mental health. Okay, there's mental health. This involves practicing mindfulness and continuously learning. It's essential to tend to our mind just as much as we do our bodies. It is equally important. Then there's emotional self care. It's crucial to stay in touch with our emotions and fully engage with them. Acknowledge our feelings is as important overall for our well being. Not ignoring them, not pushing them down, not, someone hurts your feelings, your responsibility is to go to them. But you gotta, wrap your mind, don't go to them being emotional, but you do need to learn how to share your feelings. And then finally, we have social self care. This involves maintaining connections with family, friends, which is vital to our support system. You'll hear me talk a little bit more about that in a little while. These all are areas that contribute to a balanced lifestyle, helping us to manage the pressures that we will face in life, not just as young adults, but as you get older. These are things that you should continually do. So let's dive a little bit deeper and go a little bit further into these things. So, first off, as we talk about physical fitness, and physical self care, let's consider how essential this is and things that we can do. One, we talked about bedtime and how many hours. Keeping bedtime scheduled is crucial. It allows our body to rest and get the recovery that it needs. Hey, do you go to bed at the same time every day? Like, I call it the 3-2-1. There's this, it's called the 3-2-1 method. 3 hours before I go to bed, I'm shutting down all electronic devices. 2 hours before bed, I'm shutting down reading devices. An hour before the bed, hey, I'm listening to calming music. I have a process to help me ease into sleep so that I'm not spending so much time after I close my eyes actually trying to get to sleep. I encourage you to go and look that up. There are some processes to help you get the most out of your sleep. If you're waking up still feeling tired and you're sleeping 6 or 7 hours, you got to look at your process to getting to sleep. Then next, there's nutrition. We need to nourish our bodies with healthy foods and keep ourselves hydrated. A lot of folks don't like to drink water. I don't understand. But and eating, yes, fast food get the job fast and done, but it's not always the most healthy things for us to do, and it could be catastrophic to us. And then lastly, you know, we got to talk about exercising regularly. Like I said earlier, 30 minutes a day, making sure you do those things. Mental health, I kind of talked about this already. Creating a routine, schedule time, online classes, reviewing those things, doing homework. You're doing these things on a consistent basis. Taking a break during the day, like I said, take 10 minutes, go offline, disconnect from social media, and just take a moment to gather your thoughts. Practicing mindfulness and mentally relaxation helps to stimulate creativity by simply practicing these things. You have to know, hey, I have sometimes disconnecting, stepping away, walking away, and giving your mind an opportunity to kind of clear itself and really do a reset can do so much for you, right? So then self care also means being patient and kind with yourself. That part is very important. Sometimes we're patient with other people, but we're not patient with ourselves. Allow room for mistakes and understanding that, sometimes mistakes are part of the process as we go through this journey. Practice kindness to yourself. Um, remember, self care is about nurturing our well being, not just adding stress to it. This is finding things that you enjoy doing. It's something that you enjoy getting out of the experiences that you have. Hey, I do certain things that I know I'm going to get a sense of enjoyment out of. Yeah, I'm not in it for likes, because there are some things that I do. Hey, my people in my friend circle don't necessarily like to do. All right, I just know not to do it with you. I know the things that I need to go, because I'm finding things to help me be the best version of me. So self-care practice can look differently for everyone. I talked about that. For some it can mean staying still, while for others it means being very active. The main idea is to engage in an activity that recharges you, that energizes you, and being able to recognize what do I need to do in order to do that. If you notice from the screen, it points in a lot of different directions of different things because some may need to do some not so much in others. But recognizing there's always something that needs to be done. As long as you're doing the things that you need to help you, then that's there. Emotional self care, acknowledging your feelings and know that they are valid. Write them down. Do a journal. Journaling those things, get them from out of your head on the paper. And so they're not just bouncing around in your mind and you're constantly thinking about them. Practice gratitude. Take and write 3 things down that will help you that you're thankful for every day. I start every day with that. I'm thankful for this. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for this. And I practice something called proactive forgiveness every day. I forgive everybody that may do me something before the day even gets started. And that way I can walk around giving out grace and mercy all day. So even when they do me something, even when things don't go well, I'm already say, okay, I'm past it. I was already prepared for it. For some reason, we walk around and we feel like nothing ever bad is supposed to happen to us. Like we're not supposed to encounter challenges. Well, truth be told, the way we grow, mature, and develop is through experiences. And not all positive or not all good experiences bring growth. Sometimes our greatest growth comes from the challenges that we face. So, learning how to view it differently. Social self care, healthy relationship with vital and emotional well being is vital to our well being. If the relationship is not helping you, you may need to revisit it. Set boundaries to protect your emotional energy. There are some people that, truth be told, I just have to keep a distance from. They're not in my circle because I can't deal with that. And then prioritizing supportive and positive relationships and balance them with alone time. Hey, some of them I have to take a break from some people because I got to make sure I'm taking care of me. All right, these things are important. You can also think of self care as taking care of yourself so you can be better to take care of others. You can't take care of others if you're not 100 because you cannot give from an empty cup. I heard that and that has always stayed with me. Setting boundaries. Boundaries prevent burnout and emotional exhaustion. Examples of these is learning how to say no to extra work, limiting your screen time, protecting your personal time. It's essential to maintaining balance. You got to make sure, hey, it's not being selfish, it's being self caring. Hey, now you can't be all about self, but you got to know how to have the balance. All right. Digital detox. Sometimes you got to unplug. Sometimes we're all on social media. And I know we grew up in that era. The younger generation grew up more even than my generation. Folks, by the way, I'm not old. Okay. But it's the generations that came behind mine, they are more social active than I am. But it's learning how to set limits to that social media and taking regular breaks from the screen so you can focus on what you need to focus on to make sure that you have that balance. I like to call this the self care plan. Hey, in case of an emergency, what needs to happen? Who do I need to contact? How do I manage my stress? Staying on top of it by being accountable, making sure I got my self care plan handy, and I'm knowing what my red flags are. One of my red flags for me is if I find myself being short with folks, if I find myself being edgy, if those that are closest to me mention to me, you just don't seem like yourself. Hey folks, that's a red flag. It's not for you to ignore, it's for you to take note of. Because you know what? I might not agree with you, but there's maybe some truth in it. Okay. You are responsible for yourself and your self care. Here's an example of a self care plan that someone put together, and I thought it was just the neatest little thing of different things to take care of mind, body, and spirit. The things that they want to accomplish, they want to see every day. And then they have the supportive people. Hey, we all know the folks that we need to call if we need to make sure we're taken care of and we're getting the things that we need. So having that as part of the plan is essential as well. You know, keep safe and always take care of you. It is it's essential. To close out today's brief, I really want to, and I'm gonna open it up to allow anyone to ask any questions. But this quote I came across, and I said, "Oh, this is an awesome close for this. Self care is giving the world the best of you instead of what's left of you." And that does something for me right there. Katie Reed said that it's giving them the best of you, not just what's left. You got to make sure that you are giving, in order to give them your best, you have to do it. Take the time to make sure you are your best to give to them. So thank y'all so much for listening to me today. I want to open it up if there are any questions, whether or not you want to ask via text, using the chat, or if you want to come off mute and ask a question about self-care. I'd be glad to answer those. And of course, any feedback is also welcome from today's presentation. I see someone typing. I'm going to give you a moment. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing, Kaylin. She said, "Thank you so much for this. I actually need this very much today." Hey, take the time, create a plan. Don't think that you'll just do it just cause or it's just going to just happen. No, folks, it doesn't just happen. You got to put in the work. This is the springtime. Let me go ahead. I'm going to throw this one out there. This is the springtime. Isn't it funny how you go outside and you see weeds growing everywhere? You see wild grass growing everywhere. Isn't it funny how you don't have to do anything for the stuff that you don't want to show up? But in order to get, you know, a beautiful garden or a beautiful flower bed or a well manicured yard, you actually got to do it. You got to put in the work. That's what self care is. You got to be willing to put in the work in order to get the results that you want. So as we close today, here's my contact information. If me or my office could ever be of assistance to you, by all means, please let me know. We do a lot of things in and throughout the community. And of course, you can always follow us on social media. We have a number of platforms. I always tell people, hey, just Google us, the Stitches Group. These are all the different things that kind of fall underneath our umbrella that we do over at the Stitches Group. With that being said, unless there are any other questions, Ms. Cushionberry, I believe I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Blunt, for delivering today's presentation. We really appreciate that. And thank you all for joining us to learn how you can better manage your self-care. Um, and that's all we have. Thank you. You all have a great day and happy Easter.